Larry, you're a couple of years older than Bernie. The two of you, six. So quite a few years older than, I suppose. You share a lot of politics, though. You're both quite radical progressives. Where do you think that came from? Did that come from your parents? Were they particularly political people?
You know, I have actually thought about that a lot. I think probably the biggest single thing is we had this mass migration of Jewish people from Eastern Europe from the 1880s through to maybe 1920. Several million people, basic origin of most of the Jewish community of America and of Britain for that matter. And I always thought that they'd brought this kind of left-wing stuff with them. But I read a very good book a year or two ago which said, no, some of it did come from parties in Eastern Europe, social democratic parties and the rest. But the most of it actually developed in New York. So you had this very large migration of very poor people. Some must have had money, but the vast majority didn't. Most of them didn't speak the language. They turn up in a pretty cruel capitalist system, which welcomes them to all the dirty jobs, with very little union development at that point, very little to protect them. But what was also true was that it's not a perfect democracy, a very corrupt democracy actually, but it did give people a chance to organize, a chance to run in elections, to support people, to force people in power to give them things through the pressure of their numbers and their enthusiasm. So enormous development of political activity, all on the left, running through the Mensheviks and Bolsheviks and the Jewish Bund, which is, I think, probably the largest party, a Jewish nationalist socialist party. A small number of Zionists. And I think that our family were not political. Our parents did not go to meetings, they did not read politics, they read newspapers, slightly left-wing newspapers, but they were basically non-political. But I think somewhere that unexpressed, unquestioned idea that the point of governments is to help people and that you can have a good society. And we absorbed that. And the thing, though, that spoils my theory is that hundreds of thousands, if not millions of children grew up to that, and not many became Bernie Sanders. But I do think that there's something to that, and it is, in a way, the unquestioned assumptions that are most powerful in your life, I think.
So to understand Sanders socialism, you have to understand Jewish socialism in New York at the turn of the 20th century.
I think that's a good point, yes.